Good morning. It's good to have you join us on Nigeria Now, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, 2S Television. And don't forget, it's Tangled. It's Friday. Hope you're doing well. I will bring you some of the stories from the national dailies for this morning. And joining me in the studio is Adebayo Fajimi. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very fine.
Okay, we have a couple of newspapers here today, this morning. We have so much interesting stories as well for the Friday edition of Nigeria Now. We begin with Nigerian News Direct. From the very top, Chief that's Kwara Governor Loud Subeb Chief Adaramaja over project monitoring. That can be found on page 2. And then just besides that, we see court freezes jailed defunct bank PHB MDs 19.1 billion naira in 24 banks. That can be found on page 2. Then CAC Partners Code of Conduct Bureau to fish out corrupt companies, and that can be found on page 2 as well. The gaping headline there is Forensic Audit Report. Federal government to prosecute NDDC, that's Nigeria Delta Development Commission officials, over 6 trillion naira allocation scandal. And the writer underneath says uncovers 362 bank accounts with reconciliation. Just underneath the picture of the day there, we see court stops NUJ, that's Nigerian Union of Journalists National Delegates Conference, restrains credentials committee, others, and then underneath that to say Mines and Steel Ministry launches 2 aircraft for data collection of minerals. On this particular Nigerian News Direct, we see a couple of stories, and each are talking about, transparency, accountability, like the CAC Partners Code of Conduct Bureau to fish out corrupt companies. And then the banner headline is Federal government to prosecute NDDC officials over 6 trillion naira allocation scandal. What would you say? Like yesterday, we spoke about yesterday's story, the trend that that's President Muhammadu Buhari sacking 2 ministers as a result of underperformance, and it generated so much controversy and everything. But we've seen a trend of fishing out gray areas. What would you say is this trend that's happening?
Honestly, it is a very good step, and it is a good thing that the government is doing. It's something that will interest every Nigerians, and we all could recall what happened, with the former leadership of, that particular commission. So for federal government to say, okay, they want to track this scandal, they want to fish out, they want to prosecute whoever is corrupt in this, who is engaged, or who indulges, in this particular scandal. I think it's a very good thing. It's high time, we begin to hold people accountable. We give them a sense of responsibility in whatever leadership position, they are holding. It is a very good development, and I really, really welcome that.
Yeah. Let's just take it back a little. What's on the news right now, even if it's not on this particular newspaper, we had a story of one of the ministers that was sacked, that he fainted or something, that he allegedly fainted. It has generated so much reaction. What's your take on all of the drama that has happened so far in the last couple of days?
Well, my take on that is not something, but I don't want to see it from the aspect of, of the fact of being sacked or no. The man could have personal, health challenge, any other thing that is not exposed to the, to the Nigerian people. So whatever the case may be, I just hope the man should just look for ways to better take care of himself, and so that he can take up and continue in his responsibility to his families and those who are looking up to him wherever he is.
All right, let's move on to the Daily Independent newspaper. From the very top, that's the COVID-19 update. Federal government plans to make vaccination mandatory for employees. That can be found on page 2. And besides that, military hands over 5,890 surrendered terrorists to Borno government, kills 65. That can be found on page 4. And the banner headline there is APC ignores court order to proceed with local government congresses. 2 riders, the first expels Yola South local government area chairman for criticizing Buhari, and the second, party's action reflects impunity in the country. That's coming from the NBA chief. Then just besides the picture of the day there, we see Enugu Assembly passes anti-open grazing bill, can be found on page 5. How price differential is fueling petrol smuggling, coming from NNPC, can be found on page 5 as well. And second quarter of 2021, Access Bank profit up 42% Total assets hit 10.1 trillion naira. That can be found on page 4. And then under the picture, that picture right there, we see a picture, a story that has, replicated itself. Forgiving repentant Boko Haram members will traumatize their victims. That's coming from Dogo and it's on page 9. And then there's a gaping headline there under the picture of the day. That's federal government moves to prosecute officials over NDDC funds. Yes, we've read that as well. And under just the last story right there is court freezes assets of Atuche, former bank PHB MD. Now let's go over to, yes, we spoke about this COVID-19 story that's on the Daily Independent newspaper yesterday. And just besides that, military hands over 5,890 surrendered terrorists to Borno government, kills 65. We've always had, Nigerians talking about this whole Boko Haram surrendering bandits and laying down their arms and coming back and, the grace period and everything. And people have said, okay, how do we make sure all of this is happening and is being done right? Now, there was a follow-up story that they have to be profiled. Some groups were asking that these people, this set of people that have surrendered themselves to the Nigerian troops should be profiled. And people are saying, oh yes, it's a good step. Now they've handed over 5,000 people. But there's something there. It says kills 65. Is this not maybe a question that shows that are the people who have surrendered, are they really surrendered in that sense?
Yeah, and that is the question every Nigerian is asking. Because how sure are we that these people are the real insurgents? Do you understand? Not too long, the governor of Borno State also came up and said most of these people surrendering are those who have been, incorporated, those who have been, abducted, kids, wives, and, a couple of, many people who have been forcefully, taken by these people. So how sure really are we that these people who are surrendering to the Nigerian troop are the real Boko Haram, the real people who are terrorizing the nation? So, and, this also bounds to the question of accountability and trust. Because whatever the government is telling people, no Nigerian want to believe is the truth. Are they being, there is accountability, there is trust, and, a Nigerian can believe that whatever his or our government is telling, is telling to the people is truth. But how sure are we? So it's unfortunate that we are in a nation whereby if government tells you 20 things, you hardly found one that will be true. So if it is a good development if these people are truly surrendering, but how are we sure that truly they are the real terrorists? Are trying to put the nation on fire. So if it is true, well, it's a good development, but we must be serious about it and ensure that these are the real people terrorizing Nigeria. So if it is on the other way side, we are still far away from the peace we are yearning for. All
right, we see another angle here just under in the Daily Independent newspaper story right there. It says, forgiving repentant Boko Haram members will traumatize their victims, coming from Dogo. This is something that people have always complained about because we keep seeing families that have lost their loved ones, maybe to kidnappings and abductions, and yet we're having to see that they are forgiven, right, because they've surrendered their arms. What is your take on all of this? Like people who have mourned the loss of their loved ones and people who are coming to see these stories and they're saying, oh, this can happen. What's your take on all of this?
Well, it is good we say we want to forgive. And on the other side, if we say we don't want to forgive, the question is, do the Nigerian government, have the capacity, have the ability to combat these people? Because if you see the level and at the rate at which these people are terrorizing the entire country, it will amaze you. So I think the best approach the government needs to deploy is to look into a way that can contain this menace. If forgiving them is going to solve the whole situation, I think they should go to that direction. And if they think, okay, we have capacity to take the fight to them, not to brook them anymore, of course we can do. So I think whatever approach is good. What every Nigerian wants is peace and nothing you know, apart from that. So if it will happen that way, fine. And if it's going to happen the other way, all we just want is peace, and that's all.
All right, let's straight to the banner headline there. That is APC ignoring court order to proceed with local government congresses. Two banner riders there says, expels Yola South local government area chairman for criticizing Buhari. And the follow-up there, that's another rider, is party's action reflects impunity in the country. That's coming from the NBA chief. What is your take on all of these activities? I mean, it's barely 2 years to the general elections. We're having all of these stories and, you know, APC ignoring court order and different parties, you know, cross-carpeting and everything. What's your take on all of these activities, basically?
That still tells us that the beautiful ones are not yet born in Nigeria. If somebody is being removed, you know, from his position in a party because he criticized, you know, what is not being done the right way in a party, I don't think it is right. Just yesterday, we did a report here that a lawmaker in Katsina State, Aminu Garba, also criticized lambasted Buhari that he has not done well. And a lot of people have been saying the same thing. So now, if you also look into the party, you know, court is restraining you to do something and you are still going. So that it is not today. You know, impunity in this nation did not start yesterday. It is a long-term thing. So, and that's it tells you the situation at which we are and democratic governance in Nigeria. And the best way to really stabilize democracy starts from internal democracy of every political party. So until that is achieved, honestly, I'm afraid what happens to our democracy as a nation.
All right, let's move on to our Daily Sun newspaper. And that is from the very top, Enugu Assembly passes anti-open grazing bill. The banner headline there is Mesari passes vote of no confidence in IGP. Two riders, the first says police boss lacks capacity to secure Katsina. The second, state police now necessity. That's coming from Iwonyawu, and that can be found on page 7. And now we've always been having this conversation on the conversation program and the call for state police and everything. But I've not really had your opinion on this issue. Do you believe state police is something that we should look at now? Looking at what is happening, especially in the northeast part of Nigeria.
State police will of course work if there is proper organization and, you know, proper structure for them. Because if you look at the entire thing now, with this centralized government that we are running in Nigeria, that everything comes to the center and it's the president that controls, that has the power, you know, to control the security, you know, agents. But many people have also been saying that if we have state police, the state governors can try to manipulate it to for their own interest in the political aspect. But there is no structure, there is no change that does not, you know, has its own advantage and disadvantage. It depends on the kind of structure and the approach we give to that change to ensure that it is well stabilized and for it to be able to achieve the aim and the goal for you know, in which, you know, it is established for. So I sincerely believe it's high time we have state police in Nigeria.
All right, just still on our Daily Sun newspaper, we see on page 26 there, from the front page, that's beside the picture of the day, NDDC audit report exposes mismanagement of 6 trillion naira. And then alleged graft, Kogi threatens legal action against EFCC. That can be found on page 26. And APC to sanction members of our court cases against party can be found on page 27. And other stories right there. The last one is troops kill 6 ISWAP terrorists, scores of bandits. That can be found on page 30. And that obvious headline there is federal government mulls compulsory vaccination for workers. We spoke about this vaccination thing again. Let me hear your take. Compulsory vaccination for workers. You know, before now we've had series of stories, series of controversies, series of belief systems. People saying, no, this is not what we believe in. The COVID-19 is not real and everything. Then time and time, you know, from 2019 to date, we're seeing all of this. And now we're coming to the part where Nigeria's federal government is, according to this newspaper, is saying there's a thing as compulsory vaccination for workers.
Yeah, it is, for me, it is very important for everybody to get vaccinated.
Okay.
My take, which I've been repeating over time, is just that we should try to enlighten people and, you know, engage in massive orientation so that people can really understand the reason why or the purpose for which they need to get this in, and, you know, just to ensure that they don't endanger the lives of other people.
All right, thank you again for coming on the show. We have a couple of other stories. Just make sure that you are staying updated. Pick up a story of any of the newspapers we've read and many more, and just know what's happening around the country. Again, this is Nigeria Now. You can always stay updated on our website, www.tostvnetwork.com. Follow us across all our social media platforms at TOSTV Network. Again, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I am Merciful Ajinamo.